The whole world is looking at Filipinos right now as they're about to elect a late dictator's son to be the president of the Philippines.
Okay, doon pa lang pagkabanggit niya ng late dictator son. Kung hindi sana niya ginawang statement yun, kung medyo ginawa niyang patanong, hindi siya makaka-offend umpisa pa lang ng video. So, tuloy natin. Sino sa inyo yung nakapanood na ng video ni Project Nightfall tungkol kay BBM? Kagabi, pagbukas ko ng Facebook, punta ko sa Facebook Watch. Yun agad yung naunang video sa newsfeed ko. So, yung thumbnail pa lang, sigurado, hahakot na to ng Filipino viewers. So, hindi ko pa siya pinanood, chinek ko kagad yung comment box. Alaka, hindi ko mabasa dahil ang bilis. Ang daming nag-comment. Naghang yung phone ko. Galit na galit sila. Galit na galit yung mga supporter ni BBM. Kasi nga naman, thumbnail pa lang oh. So, panoorin natin yung video para sa mga hindi nakapanood at naiintriga.
The whole world is looking at Filipinos right now as they're about to elect a late dictator's son to be the president of the Philippines.
Okay, doon pa lang pagkabanggit niya ng late dictator son. Kung hindi sana niya ginawang statement yun, kung medyo ginawa niyang patanong, hindi siya makaka-offend umpisa pa lang ng video. So, tuloy natin.
In other countries, this is what you'll see. And from outsiders watching it unfold, this is what you'll hear.
The son of a guy who terrorized the Philippines for years is now the front runner to take over. Bong Bong Marcos has shown virtually no remorse for what his father put the country through.
So,
yung reporter na to, yung newscaster na to, nakita ko na rin minsan binabash nito si President Duterte. Nanguha pa nga niya.
why is it that this man is leading a presidential race by a landslide? Yes, over 30 million Filipinos voted for him, at least according to the partial unofficial tally. Is it because Filipinos see something in him that a big part of the world doesn't? Nightfall. This is a special video that will spotlight, not my opinion, but the voice of Filipinos for the Filipinos.
Okay. Voice of Filipinos. So, iilan lang yung papakita niyang i-interviewin dito. Pero pinipresenta na niya ito, buong Pilipino. Buong sambayan ng Pilipino.
And if you're watching this election unfold from a different part of the world, stick around because you might get your answer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what they said when we asked, what are your hopes and fears for the next president of the Philippines? One thing is definite, as it's often in the politics, there is a strong contrast in opinions. One side is already bracing for really dark times.
It's a really dark time for the Philippines right now.
I fear that disappearance, torture, politically detained, death, and other unlawful acts against our freedom and human rights might happen again.
While the other is celebrating a bright future ahead.
And as 30 plus millions of Filipino people voted for him, I don't think we have the reasons to be afraid of because, yes, majority of us believed in him. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas.
There is no reason to be fear because our new elected president is chosen by the majority. And I hope that new administration will help all of Filipinos in call of needs and put some good plans in health, education, economy, and infrastructure.
It's almost like they're living in different realities, holding different sets of facts.
How could I trust a leader who uses disinformation networks to promote himself, fake news, and trolls? How could I support a leader who never liked attending debates, never liked being criticized?
There are no fears, as it is the beginning of new era, a new place for Filipino to arise from prostration and hope.
And maybe that is why Marcos Jr.'s call for unity during his campaign has resonated with a lot of people who are simply tired with the so-called toxic division.
Toxic division. So, tuwing halalan lang ba nangyayari yun? Eh, hindi lang naman tuwing halalan yun, di ba?
I fear that the relationships, friendships that's been broken by the elections, we all have our differences, we all have our own principles and beliefs.
But then the critics also ask, what is the point of unity under a family name that has stolen so much from the country?
My biggest fear for this election is to have a president that is stained with corruption and built by disinformation.
I am genuinely scared to put back into position what the people back then ousted.
To which Marcos supporters usually counter with two things. It is time to forgive what his family did, and that he cannot be judged through his father's sins.
Bakit bang idinidiin nila na may kasalanan talaga ang Marcoses? Grabehan yung pagkabayas nito. Although hindi naman ako ganun na-offend kasi nga sanay na tayo dito. Sanay na tayo, kaya lang coming from Project Nightfall, diba? Eh ako, expected ko na bias to kasi karamihan ng mga video nito, lalo pag tungkol sa Russia and China, bias. Tsaka pansin ko lang, walang tag dito. Pansin ko lang, wala silang pinakitang BBM supporter na in-interview na nagtanggol sa personality o pagkatao ng mga Marcos, especially BBM.
Nightfam, I realize that it doesn't look good when me, a foreigner, comments on other countries' affairs. We all know, because it's politics, there are many more complicated issues that this video has not even touched yet. Rampant fake news, disinformation, some reports of election irregularities, to name a few. But if you ask me, how I feel for the country that has become such a big part of my mission, here is what I know to be true. I know that Filipinos deserve so much from their government. I know that the poor and the underrepresented demand a public servant who truly cares about their needs in jobs, health, and education. And I know that every voter only wants best for their nation. And as I know all of this, I must tell you something that is very sad, disappointing, and difficult. I have been contacted by many people from the Philippines, and I can see how many are so afraid to even voice their opinions. That is why we have blurred the faces of the people who speak in this video, because the hate is so strong, because the division is so strong, because the trolls are so strong. Some people are even worried for their lives. simply for expressing their opinions. I have said it before and I'll say it again. The Philippines is a beautiful nation that deserves all the blessings of this world. That is why only recently our Project Nightfall organization helped raise funds after the typhoon that hit the Filipinos. Over 20,000 affected people received help from it. In that moment, in these big numbers, we saw a beautiful unity, and we hope that this type of unity will prevail no matter what, so that when the next elections happen, no one is scared for their lives in expressing their opinions about the future of their country.
Yun lang. Pagkakamali mo doon, Project Nightfall, na trigger ang 31 million Pilipino na sumusuporta kay BBM. Hindi naman nang pumawi sa dulo na pangontra doon sa mga nilalabas mong information. Kaya yan. Nagalit ang mga Pinoy. Pag pinunta niyo yung page ni Project Nightfall, wala na yan doong video niya kasi nga hindi ko alam kung dinilit ng page mismo or tinake down ni Facebook kasi marami din nag-report eh. Natatawa lang ako kasi naramdaman ni Project Nightfall yung unity ng 31 million BBM supporter. Although hindi lahat hindi lahat naman 31 million na yan eh talagang na-kontra. Ako na-open lang ako kasi umpisa pa lang dapat tatanong lang tapos maglalagpas ng information dapat neutral. Wala eh, puro mga bad sides yung mga pinakita nila, tapos iilan lang yung pro BBM na nilabas yung interview video, tapos wala pa dun yung nagtanggol sa katauhan ng mga Marcoses. So, talagang hindi na nakakapagtaka kung bakit nagwawala ang mga Pinoy. So, ayun lang. Ingat. Kung nagustuhan mo ang video na ito, huwag kalimutang i-like at mag-subscribe sa aking channel. Pindutin mo na rin ang notification bell para ma-notify ka ng mga susunod ko pang videos. See you on my next one. Bye!